Down in the great room, Khufu the baboon sat on the sofa with a basketball between his legs and a chunk of strange-looking meat in his hands. It was covered in pink feathers. ESPN was on the television, and Khufu was watching highlights from the games the night before. "Hey," I said, though I felt a little weird talking to him. "Lakers win?" Khufu looked at me and patted his basketball like he wanted a game. He had a pink feather hanging from his chin, and the sight made my stomach do a slow roll. Yeah," I said. "We'll play later, okay?" I could see Sadie and Amos out on the terrace eating breakfast by the pool. It should have been freezing out there, but the fire pit was blazing, and neither Amos nor Sadie looked cold. I headed their way, then hesitated in front of the statue of Thoth. In the daylight, the bird-headed god didn't look quite so scary. Still, I could swear those beady eyes were watching me expectantly. What had the fiery guy said last night? Something about catching us before we learned our powers? It sounded ridiculous, but for a moment I felt a surge of strength, like the night before when I'd opened the front door just by raising my hand. I felt like I could lift anything, even this 30-foot tall statue if I wanted to. In kind of a trance, I stepped forward. Muffin meowed impatiently and butted my foot. The feeling dissolved. "You're right," I told the cat. "Stupid idea." Besides, I could smell breakfast now. French toast, bacon, hot chocolate, and I couldn't blame Muffin for being in a hurry. I followed her out onto the terrace. "Ah, Carter," Amos said. "Merry Christmas, my boy. Join us." "About time," Sadie grumbled. "I've been up for ages." But she held my eyes for a moment, like she was thinking the same thing I was. Christmas? We hadn't spent a Christmas together since Mom died. I wondered if Sadie remembered how we used to make God's eye decorations out of yarn and popsicle sticks. Amos poured himself a cup of coffee. His clothes were similar to those that he'd worn the day before, and I had to admit the guy had style. His tailored suit was made of blue wool, he wore a matching fedora, and his hair was freshly braided with dark blue lapis lazuli, one of the stones that the Egyptians often used for jewelry. Even his glasses matched. The round lenses were tinted blue. A tenser sax rested on the stand near the fire pit, and I could totally picture playing out there, serenading the East River. As for Sadie, she dressed in white linen pajama outfits like me, but somehow she'd managed to keep her comfortable boots. She probably slept with them on. She looked pretty comical with the red streaked hair and the outfit, but since I wasn't dressed any better, I could hardly make fun of her. Amos," I asked, "you didn't have any pet birds, did you? Khufu's eating something with pink feathers." Amos sipped his coffee. "Sorry if that disturbed you. Khufu's pretty picky. He only eats foods that end up in Doritos, burritos, and flamingos. Anything that ends with an O." I blinked. "Did you say—" "Carter," Sadie warned. She looked a little queasy, like she'd already had this conversation. "Don't ask." "Okay," I said, not asking. "Please, Carter, help yourself." Amos waved towards a buffet table piled high with food. "Then we can get started with the explanations." I didn't see any flamingo on the buffet table, which was flying fine by me, but there was just about everything else. I snagged some pancakes with butter and syrup, some bacon, and a glass of OJ. And then I noticed movement out of the corner of my eye. I glanced at the swimming pool. Something long and pale was gliding just under the surface of the water. I almost dropped my plate. "Is that—" "A crocodile," Amos confirmed. "For good luck. He's albino, but don't mention that. He's sensitive." "His name is Philip of Macedonia," Sadie informed me. I wasn't sure how Sadie was taking all this so calmly, but I figured she wasn't freaking out, so I shouldn't either. "That's a long name," I said. "He's a long crocodile," Sadie said. "Oh, and he likes bacon." To prove her point, she tossed a piece of bacon over her shoulder. Philip lunged out of the water and snapped up the treat. His hide was pure white, and his eyes were pink. His mouth was so big he could have snapped up an entire pig. "He's quite harmless to my friends," Amos assured me. "In the old days, no temple would be complete without a lake full of crocodiles. They are powerful magic creatures."